All right, first story. So this story comes from a dude named Mike, a trucker from Ohio with over 20 years behind the wheel. This guy's seen it all. Blizzards, breakdowns, you name it. But nothing compares to what happened to him back in 2017 on Interstate 80 in Nevada. Picture this. It's 2 a.m., pitch black, just miles of desert and highway. The moon's out casting this spooky silver glow over the sand. Mike's alone in his big rig, sipping black coffee, trying to stay awake. His CB radio spins static, and the only sound is the rumble of his engine. Straight up middle of nowhere vibes, you know? So Mike's cruising along, minding his own business, when his CB radio crackles to life. This deep, raspy voice comes through like someone gargling gravel. It says, "Hey driver, you got your ears on?" Mike's like, "All right, probably just another trucker bored out of his mind." He grabs the mic and goes, "Yeah, I'm here, man. What's good?" The voice comes back, "Careful up ahead, buddy. Road's got a bad vibe tonight." Mike's thinking, what? Is this dude pranking me? He laughs it off and says, "What kind of vibe we talking about?" But nothing, just static. Radio goes dead. Now, Mike's been around, so he's not tripping too hard, but something feels off. Like the air in the cab gets heavy, like someone's breathing down his neck. A few miles down the road, Mike glances in his side mirror and boom, he sees headlights. Way back, but closing in fast. It's another semi, chrome grille shining like it's polished to death. This thing's moving way too quick for a truck that size, like it's possessed or something. Mike's like, "Who's this psycho?" He speeds up a bit, but this truck keeps gaining. His CB crackles again, and that same creepy voice growls, "Told you to be careful." Yo, at this point, Mike's heart is pounding. He grabs the mic and yells, "Who the hell is this? Quit messing around." Dead silence. And those headlights, they're right behind him now, blinding in his mirrors. Now, Mike's no rookie. He knows every trick in the book. Road rage, tailgaters, you name it. But this ain't normal. The truck's so close, he can't even see the driver in the mirrors. Just this dark, empty cab. He floors it, pushing his rig to the max, but this ghost truck matches him like it's glued to his bumper. Then, the wildest thing happens. The truck pulls up right beside him. Mike's thinking, all right, let's see who this clown is. He glances over, expecting some angry dude flipping him off. But there's nobody in the cab, just darkness. And for a split second, he swears he sees something move inside, like a shadow twisting, like it's alive. Yo, I'm getting chills just telling you this. Mike's freaking out now, sweating like crazy, praying it's just his mind playing tricks. He grabs the CB and... Anyone out there? I got a rig telling me, no driver. Nothing but static. The phantom truck starts swerving, trying to push him off the road. Mike's fighting the wheel, his tires screeching as he hits the shoulder. His rig shaking, and he's thinking, this is it, I'm done. Then, right when he's about to lose control, poof, the truck vanishes. No lights, no engine roar, nothing. Just the empty highway stretching into the night. Mike's like, what the actual hell just happened? He limps his rig to the next rest stop, shaking so bad he can barely hold his coffee mug. He checks his truck, and there's this long, deep scratch down the side, jagged, like something clawed it. No way he hit anything out there. So what made that mark? He stumbles into the diner, looking like he's seen a ghost. The waitress pours him coffee, and he starts telling her what happened. An old trucker at the counter overhears and pulls him aside. The guy's face goes white as a sheet when Mike describes the truck. Black semi, no markings, no driver. The old-timer leans in and says, "Son, you just met the phantom trucker." Here's where it gets real, fam. That old trucker tells Mike the legend. Back in the 80s, a driver hauling some shady cargo, some say it was cursed, crashed on I-80. His rig went up in flames, burned so hot it melted the road. They say his spirit's trapped out there, tied to his truck, haunting the highway. Truckers have been talking about this ghost rig for years. It shows up on lonely stretches, chasing drivers, sometimes just warning them, sometimes worse. Mike's lucky he made it out. Some drivers who've seen that black semi, they're never heard from again. Mike never drove I-80 again after that night. He's still a trucker, but he sticks to safer routes. That scratch on his rig, it's still there, a reminder of something he can't explain. Other drivers on that highway have reported similar stuff. Headlights with no source, a voice on the CB, a truck that disappears into thin air. So, if you're ever hauling through Nevada at night and your radio crackles with a warning, listen. And if you see headlights in your mirror that don't make sense, floor it and don't look back. All right, second story. So this story comes from a trucker named Eddie, a dude from Texas who's been hauling loads for 15 years. This went down in 2019 on a lonely stretch of Route 66 in Arizona. You know Route 66, right? That iconic highway with all the old diners and ghost towns. Well, at 3 a.m., it's a whole different beast. Desert on both sides, no street lights, just you and the road. Eddie's driving his semi, hauling furniture cross country, and he's dog-tired. His only company is a thermos of coffee and some classic rock on low. The desert's dead quiet, and the stars are so bright it's almost creepy. So, Eddie's cruising along, eyes heavy, when he spots something up ahead in his headlights. It's a figure standing on the shoulder, thumb out like a hitchhiker. Now, Eddie's an old-school trucker. Picking up strangers ain't his thing, especially in the middle of nowhere. But as he gets closer, he sees it's a woman, maybe in her 20s, wearing a white dress, looking all lost and sad. He thinks, man, what's she doing out here? No cars, no towns for miles. Against his better judgment, he slows down and pulls over. Big mistake, fam. Eddie rolls down his window, and the woman walks up. She's pale, like too pale, and her eyes are off, like they're not quite focused. She says in this soft voice, "Can you take me to the next town? I got lost." Eddie's creeped out but feels bad, so he says, "Hop in." She climbs into the cab, and the second she sits down, the air gets freezing. Like Eddie's breath is fogging up in his own truck, and it's a warm desert night. He tries to make small talk, asks her name. She just stares straight ahead and whispers, "Clara." That's it. No last name, no nothing. Eddie's driving, trying to shake the weird vibes. He notices Clara's not moving much, just sitting there, hands folded, staring at the road. He asks, "So, what happened? How'd you end up out here?" She doesn't answer at first, but then she turns her head, real slow, and looks right at him. Her voice drops to this creepy whisper, and she says, "They left me." Eddie's like, "Who left you?" But she just repeats, "They left me," over and over, getting louder each time. Now, Eddie's heart is racing. He glances over, and her face, it's changing. Her eyes are sinking into her skull, and her mouth stretches into this unnatural grin. Yo, I'm getting chills just thinking about this. Eddie's freaking out, gripping the wheel so hard his knuckles are white. He's thinking, I gotta get her out of my truck. He spots a gas station up ahead, one of those 24-hour joints, and decides to pull over. He says, "Hey Clara, I'm grabbing some gas. You need anything?" No answer. He looks over and she's gone. Seats empty, doors still locked, no sign of her. But the cab's still freezing, and there's this faint whisper in the air, like someone's muttering right behind him. Eddie jumps out, checks the whole truck. Nothing. He's thinking, am I losing it? Was she even real? He heads into the gas station, looking like he just saw a ghost. The clerk, an old dude with a cowboy hat, notices Eddie's pale face and asks what's wrong. Eddie spills the story, the hitchhiker, the cold, her disappearing. The clerk's eyes go wide and he says, "Son, you picked up Clara." Eddie's like, "What do you mean?" The clerk tells him the legend. Back in the 70s, a woman named Clara was hitchhiking on Route 66. She got picked up by some bad dudes who, well, let's just say she never made it home. Her body was found in the desert, and ever since, truckers and drivers have reported seeing her on that stretch, thumb out, asking for a ride. But here's the kicker, fam. The clerk says, she don't just ask for a ride. If you hear a whisper, she's marked you. Eddie's like, "Mark me for what?" The clerk just shakes his head and says, "Don't stop driving till the sun comes up." Eddie gets back in his truck, freaked out, and floors it. The whole way he's hearing that whisper, "They left me," faint, like it's coming from the back of the cab. He checks his mirrors, and every now and then, he swears he sees her in the passenger seat, just for a split second, grinning that creepy grin. Eddie made it to his drop-off point at dawn, but he was never the same. He told his story to other truckers, and some swore they'd seen Clara too. One guy even said he found a handprint on his window after picking her up, small, pale, like it was burned into the glass. Eddie quit driving Route 66 after that. He still hauls, but he sticks to daytime runs. Truckers on that highway still talk about the whispering hitchhiker, and they say if you see a woman in white on the side of the road at night, keep driving, don't stop. And if you hear a whisper in your cab, pray you make it to morning. All right, third story. This story is about a trucker named Carl, a guy from Missouri who's been hauling freight for over a decade. This went down in 2020 on US Route 50 in Utah, known as the loneliest road in America. No joke, this highway's got nothing for miles, just desert, mountains, and a vibe that screams, you're on your own. It's late, like 1 a.m., and Carl's driving his semi, hauling a load of produce to California. The road's empty, his headlights are cutting through the dark, and he's got some old country tunes playing to keep him company. But out there, it feels like the world's holding its breath. Voice picks up, building the scene. So, Carl's cruising along, sipping on a Red Bull, when his dashboard lights flicker. Just for a second, but it's weird. His rig's brand new, no reason for that. He shakes it off, thinking it's a loose wire or something. Then, his CB radio starts acting up, spitting static like it's possessed. Out of the noise, he hears a faint voice, all distorted, saying, keep driving, don't look back. Carl's like, what the hell? He grabs the mic and says, yo, who's this? You messing with me? No answer, just more static. Now, Carl's a tough dude, but he's starting to feel uneasy, like something's watching him from the dark. Music gets tense. A couple miles later, Carl checks his side mirror and sees something that makes his blood run cold. There's a set of headlights behind him, faint but getting closer. It's another semi, but something's off. It's got no running lights, just those high beams glaring like eyes. Carl's thinking, all right, maybe it's some rookie who forgot his lights. He speeds up a bit, but this truck keeps pace, staying just close enough to creep him out. His CB crackles again, and that same voice hisses, don't look back. Carl's heart's pounding now. He radios out, anyone on this channel? I got a rig tailing me, acting weird. Nothing. Dead air. Now, Carl's been on the road long enough to know when something ain't right. This truck's too quiet. No engine roar, no tire hum, just those headlights burning into his mirrors. He decides to pull over at a wide spot in the road, thinking he'll let this guy pass. He eases onto the shoulder, but the other truck, it stops too, like 50 yards back, just sitting there, lights blazing. Carl's sweating, thinking, what's this dude's deal? He grabs his flashlight, ready to confront whoever's messing with him. But then, the headlights behind him blink out, like someone flipped a switch. No truck, no nothing, just darkness. Carl's freaking out, scanning the road with his flashlight, but there's no sign of that rig. He jumps back in his cab, locks the doors, and floors it. As he's hauling ass, his CB goes nuts again, and that voice comes through, clear as day. You looked back. Yo, Carl's about to lose it. He's driving like a bat out of hell, checking his mirrors, and then he sees it, those headlights again, but they're closer, like the truck teleported. And now, he notices something else in the mirror, the rig behind him. It's not reflecting in the glass right. It's like a shadow, all blurry and wrong, like it's not even real. Carl's praying now, muttering every Bible verse he can remember. He spots a rest area up ahead, one of those sketchy ones with a single light pole flickering. He pulls in, hoping there's other drivers around, but it's deserted. He kills the engine, grabs his phone to call for help, but it's dead. Full battery 5 minutes ago, now nothing. Then he hears it, a low rumble, like an engine idling nearby. He looks out the window, and there's that truck, parked across the lot, headlights off, just a black shape against the desert. And he swears he sees something move in the cab, like a figure, but not human, more like a silhouette made of smoke. Carl's done. He starts his rig and peels out, pushing his truck to the limit. The shadow rig follows, keeping pace no matter how fast he goes. His CB screaming static, mixed with that voice whispering, you can't outrun it. Carl's thinking about his family, his kids, anything to keep his mind off whatever's chasing him. Then, just as the sun starts to peek over the horizon, the headlights behind him vanish again. No sound, no trace, just gone. Carl makes it to a truck stop in the next town, shaking so bad he can barely walk. He checks his rig, and there's a mark on the back door, a black handprint, like it was burned into the metal. When Carl tells his story at the truck stop, an old driver pulls him aside. The guy's been hauling since the 70s, and he says, "You saw the shadow rig." Turns out, Route 50's got a dark history. Back in the 90s, a trucker vanished on that stretch, hauling some off-the-books cargo nobody talks about. His rig was found in the desert, engine running, but he was gone. Since then, drivers have reported seeing a black semi with no driver, trailing them, whispering on the CB. Some say it's the lost driver's ghost, others say it's something older, tied to the land itself. Carl's lucky, he made it out. Not everyone does. Alright, fourth story. This story is about a trucker named Ray, a guy from Oregon who's been hauling loads up and down the West Coast for 12 years. This happened in 2021 on Highway 101 along the Oregon coast, a stretch known for its cliffs, ocean views, and some seriously spooky vibes. It's around 4 a.m. and Ray's driving his semi hauling lumber to a depot in California. The night's foggy as hell, like something out of a horror movie. His headlights are barely cutting through the mist, and the road's twisting along the coastline with waves crashing below. It's just him, his rig, and the static on his radio, so Ray's cruising through this fog, keeping his eyes peeled because this highway's no joke. One wrong move and you're in the Pacific. His CB radio's been quiet all night, but suddenly it crackles to life. A woman's voice comes through, soft but clear, saying, "Help me, I'm lost." Ray's like, "Whoa, what?" He grabs the mic and says, "This is Ray, who's this? Where you at?" No answer, just static. He figures it's a prank or maybe someone's in trouble, so he keeps his ears on. But the vibe in the cab shifts. It gets cold, like someone cracked a window in the middle of winter. Ray checks, but everything's sealed tight. A few miles later, Ray spots something in the fog up ahead. It's a shape on the side of the road, standing still like a person. As he gets closer, he sees it's a woman in a long coat, her hair wet like she's been in the rain. She's just standing there, not moving, not waving, nothing. Ray's a good dude, so he slows down, thinking she might be stranded. He pulls over, rolls down his window, and calls out, "Hey, you okay? Need a ride?" She doesn't say a word, just turns her head real slow. Her face, it's pale, almost gray, and her eyes are pitch black like holes. Ray's gut screams, "Get out of here." But before he can hit the gas, she's gone, vanished into the fog. Now Ray's heart's pounding. He's thinking, okay, maybe I'm tired seeing things. He shakes it off and keeps driving, but the fog's getting thicker, like it's swallowing his truck. His CB crackles again, and that same voice whispers, "You shouldn't have stopped." Yo, Ray's freaking out now. He checks his mirrors and there's nothing but fog. No cars, no lights, just this suffocating gray. Then he hears it, a low rumble like another truck's engine, but it's coming from behind him. He looks in his side mirror and there's a pair of headlights, faint at first, but getting closer, cutting through the fog like lasers. Ray's no rookie. He knows how to handle tailgaters, but this feels different. Ray's praying now, gripping the wheel like his life depends on it. He spots a turnout up ahead, a small overlook by the cliffs, and decides to pull over, hoping this thing will pass. He kills his lights, thinking he'll hide in the fog. The rumble gets louder, and those headlights slow down, stopping right behind him. Ray's frozen, waiting for something to happen. Then, he hears it, a knock on his passenger door, slow, deliberate. Knock, knock, knock. He looks over, and there's nothing outside, just fog pressing against the glass. But when he looks closer, there's a handprint on the window, wet, smudged, like it was made by something dripping. Ray slams the truck into gear and peels out, his tires screeching on the wet pavement. The shadow rig follows, its headlights flooding his cab with light. His radio's screaming now, the woman's voice chanting, "You shouldn't have stopped," over and over. Ray's driving blind, the fog so thick he can barely see the road. He's thinking about his wife, his kids, anything to keep his mind off whatever's chasing him. Then, just as he's about to lose hope, the fog starts to lift, and the sun's breaking over the horizon. The headlights behind him fade, and the rumble stops. The shadow rig's gone, like it was never there. Ray makes it to a truck stop in the next town, shaking so bad he can't even hold his coffee. He checks his rig, and that handprint on the window, it's still there, etched into the glass like it was burned in. He tells his story to the other drivers, and an old-timer pulls him aside. The guy says, "You met the fog stalker." Turns out, Highway 101's got a dark history. Back in the 60s, a woman crashed her car on that stretch during a foggy night. They never found her body, just the wreckage. Since then, truckers say she appears in the fog, hitching rides, and if you stop for her, something else follows, a black rig that hunts you down. Some say it's her spirit, others say it's something darker, using her as bait. Alright, fifth story. This story is about a trucker named Jack, a dude from Kentucky who's been hauling freight for over a decade. This went down in 2021 on Route 265, a lonely stretch in rural Kentucky where the hills are dark and the fog rolls in thick. It's 3 a.m. and Jack's driving his semi, hauling a load of auto parts to Louisville. The night's foggy as hell, like something out of a slasher flick. His headlights are barely cutting through the mist, and the road's winding through nowhere with nothing but trees and silence. It's just Jack, his rig, and some static on his CB radio. So, Jack's cruising along, sipping coffee to stay sharp, when his truck starts acting weird. The engine sputters, the lights flicker, and then, bam, the whole rig dies. He's stranded in the middle of Route 265, fog so thick he can't see 10 feet past his hood. Jack's like, great, just what I need. He pops the hood, grabs his flashlight, and steps out to check the engine. The air's cold, way colder than it should be for a Kentucky summer night. His CB's dead, his phone's got no signal, 0 bars. He's cut off, alone in the fog, and that's when he hears it. A faint crying sound, like a kid or maybe a woman, coming from the trees. Now Jack's no rookie. He's dealt with breakdowns, sketchy rest stops, you name it. But this crying, it's giving him chills. He calls out, "Hey, anyone there? You okay?" The crying stops, and for a second, it's dead quiet. Then it starts again, louder, closer, like it's circling his truck. Jack's heart's pounding, thinking maybe someone's hurt, but something feels wrong. He shines his flashlight into the fog, and the beam catches nothing, just swirling mist. But the crying keeps getting louder, and now it's mixing with something else, a low, creepy laugh, like someone's mocking him. Yo, I'm getting goosebumps just telling you this. Jack's back in his cab now, doors locked, trying to get the engine to turn over. The crying and laughter are everywhere, like they're coming from all sides, echoing in the fog. He checks his mirrors, and that's when he sees them. Dark shapes, tall and humanoid, moving in the mist. They're not clear, just shadows, but they're watching him. He blinks, and they're gone. He's thinking, am I losing it? His hands are shaking as he tries the ignition again, but the truck's still dead. Then, the cab gets freezing, like someone dumped ice water on him. His breath's fogging up, and the laughter gets louder, almost like it's inside the truck now. Jack's freaking out, muttering every prayer he knows. He grabs his phone again. Still no signal, but now the screen's glitching, flashing on and off. The CB crackles to life, and a voice, all distorted, whispers, "You're not alone." Yo, Jack's about to lose it. He looks in the side mirror, and those shapes are back, closer now, like they're stepping out of the fog. One of them looks like a woman, her head tilted at a weird angle, but her face, it's wrong, like it's melting. Jack slams his fist on the dashboard, begging the truck to start. And then, out of nowhere, the engine roars to life, like someone flipped a switch. Jack floors it, tires screeching as he peels out. The fog's so thick he can barely see the road, but he's not stopping for anything. The crying and laughter follow him, fading in and out, like whatever's out there is keeping pace. He checks his mirrors, and those shapes are still there, flickering in and out of the fog, like they're chasing him. His CB's going nuts, spitting static mixed with that voice, now screaming, "You can't leave." Jack's driving blind, praying he doesn't hit a curve and go off the road. Then, just as the first light of dawn breaks through, the fog starts to clear, and the sounds stop. The shapes in the mirror, gone, like they were never there. Jack makes it to a truck stop outside Louisville, shaking so bad he can barely park. He checks his rig, and there's something freaky. A smudge on the driver's side window, like a face pressed against it, but blurred, like it was made of ash. He tries to wipe it off, but it's etched into the glass. He stumbles into the diner, looking like death, and tells his story to the other drivers. An old-timer, this grizzled guy with a 1,000-yard stare, pulls him aside and says, "You ran into the fog, folks." Jack's like, "The what?" The guy tells him Route 265's got a dark past. Back in the 80s, a family crashed there in heavy fog. Mom, dad, and a kid. They all died, and folks say their spirits haunt the road, crying and laughing, looking for someone to join them. But here's the wild part, fam. The old-timer says it's not just the family. Other drivers have seen those shapes, heard the crying, and some swear it's not human. Something older, something that uses the fog to hunt. Jack never drove Route 265 at night again. He's still out there hauling, but he sticks to daylight runs. That smudge on his window, still there, a reminder of that night. Other truckers on that road have reported the same thing. Crying, laughter, shapes in the fog. So, if you're ever on Route 265 and the fog rolls in, don't stop. Keep driving, and don't look in your mirrors.